What's up, guys? I want to welcome you to the second episode of the Ultimate Fan Guy. Today, as you can see by the graphic, we're going to be talking about comedy TV shows, and I'm going to list off my personal 11 favorite comedy TV shows of the modern era. Now, as you can see by the graphic, actually, this is going to be the honorable mention, which is going to be The Simpsons. I could also put Cheers, Seinfeld, and maybe Friends into this category. Uh, but my personal humor style that I like is going to be a little bit more raunchy, a little bit more raw, a little bit more racy, a little bit just dirtier. So while I do think The Simpsons is an amazing TV show, it's going to come in as my honorable mention, simply because I did grow up on it. I do have a lot of nostalgia towards it. It is a phenomenal TV show, but it doesn't quite make me laugh as hard as the other things on this list. And that's what it's all about. It's just about laughing. So if you have an irreverent, raunchy, dude sort of sense of humor, you should definitely check out some of the shows on this list if you're not familiar with them, as I guarantee you they will make you laugh. So we're going to move on to number 11 to start. Number 11, who who couldn't love this face? Yeah, like Al Bundy himself and the TV show Married with Children. This follows the story of the Bundy family and Al Bundy in particular, who is a shoe salesman. He is the hero of all working class people. He's very raunchy and honest to a fault and just crass. And it's a really funny show. If you haven't seen Married with Children, you're missing out. You probably have seen it because it's a pretty classic show. And it ranks a little higher than those other shows that just got honorable mention because Al Bundy, I mean, he's a hero. He once scored 4 touchdowns in a single game for Polk High School. 4 touchdowns, one game. Al the Bulldozer Bundy, Polk High. The rest of his family is great. His wife is hilarious. His neighbors are hilarious. And it just kind of follows the misadventures of the Bundy family. And it is a great show. If you haven't seen Married with Children, definitely check it out. It comes in at number 11 on my list. Moving up to number 10, this is definitely a show that isn't as raunchy or dirty, but really does stir up a lot of feelings of nostalgia in myself for several reasons. One, I have worked at the Best Buy Geek Squad before, um, and I also wanted to be a super secret agent. So that was like my childhood fantasy combined with one chapter of my crappy adulthood life. And so I think I relate to this show a lot. It follows, again, I'm not going to give out any spoilers on this list outside of maybe the first episode of the first season of any of these things. So you don't have to worry about me spoiling anything for you, except for maybe the first 15 minutes of episode 1 where the plot's being set up so that I can let you know what these shows are about. Chuck follows a guy who works at the Nerd Herd Geek Squad um, at his local, buy more. And through no fault of his own, he sort of gets thrust into a world of espionage and being a secret agent. He's got this really hot handler, Yvonne Strahovski. She's amazing in the show. She's beautiful. Um, one of the Baldwin is in it, though he is not one of the famous Baldwin clan. I believe he's just has the name Baldwin. He's Adam Baldwin. You probably know him from Firefly, and he's been in tons of stuff. He's hilarious in this show. The co-workers at the Buy More are hilarious in this show. Chuck and his trying to get the hang of being a secret agent is great. This is just a great show. It's a feel-good show, and it's really funny. So it might not be as raunchy as the other stuff on this list, but it really speaks to me. If you have not seen Chuck, I know it is not a wildly popularly known show. It is certainly worth checking out, and I do believe you're going to like it. Moving on to number 9. Now, this one could definitely be a little higher on the list because it is a show that I personally, and I think most people who watch it, can pretty much put it on any time and enjoy whatever episode pops up. And there's a lot of episodes. And for that 20 to 30 minutes of their life, just kind of lose themselves in the antics of this phenomenal ensemble cast. Even in this picture, the main character, Michael Scott, Steve Carell, isn't pictured. But my other two favorite characters are right in the middle, which is Ed Helms and Rainn Wilson. I mean, you got Craig Robinson, Jenna Fisher. John. It's just a funny, funny show. They people in the show really play well off of each other. It follows the story of a bunch of office workers for a paper company, and just kind of their interactions in the office. Stuff that if you've worked in an office, you can definitely relate to, and just kind of the ridiculousness that goes on with the normal everyday workings of an office, but the people make it funny because you're definitely going to see traits in these characters that you've seen in real life people, and that's what makes stuff funny. Is to me is when I know this I know this guy, I know somebody just like that, and The Office is just a classic show. No doubt you have heard of it. It definitely could be higher on my list, but the shows that I have ranked above it are just more personal favorites of mine. But The Office is something I definitely love. It is something I will watch, but there's just a couple shows that I think are more my go-to shows that I have ranked above it. But if for whatever reason you've been living under a rock for the past 20 years and you don't know about The Office, virtually no matter what kind of sense of humor you have, The Office, you will enjoy it. It's not as niche as some of the other choices on this list that I think really are only going to appeal to more people who have sense of humor like I do. The Office is good for everyone, and it comes in at number 9. Uh, could have had it a little higher, but it's my list. Number 8, Silicon Valley. This is a show that was only on for 4 seasons, maybe 5 seasons, and apparently they had a falling out with the cast, but you couldn't tell while they were filming because this show, for what it was hilarious. My personal favorite character is going to be Guilfoyle, who you may recognize from the new Spider-Man Tom Holland movies. He plays one of the teachers, and this guy is like, I have no words for how talented this guy is. He can play the driest, most crass sense of humor to Spider-Man's teacher. He's hilarious. Obviously, you got Erlich Bachman, who's his character name, who I believe his real name is JT or JP. I'm drawing a blank on that. He's in tons of stuff, and he's hilarious in every single one of them. Middleditch is in the middle. All 5 of the people shown right here are grade A comedians, period. And they came together on the show in a way that was really funny. It's about a startup company in Silicon Valley that is trying to make its way into the world, and there's a very evil Google-like corporation run by a hilarious character that's supposed to be like the Bill Gates, I guess, who is just intent on shutting everything down or buying the world or whatever. And it's just sort of their misadventures trying to get their company started. There are so many memorable scenes from this show, so many memorable characters. And if you haven't seen Silicon Valley, which I know I've talked to a lot of people who've never even heard of it, it's a really funny show. And if you have any kind of a slightly raunchy sense of humor, you will dig this show, I assure you. Silicon Valley, check it out. That's number 8 on my list. Moving up to number 7 is the only TV family that I think I like more than the Bundys, and that are the Bluths. This is Arrested Development. It is a show that was canceled long before it should have been. It follows this family, and it's very much an ensemble cast. Jason Bateman, Michael Cera. My favorite character is going to be the Will Arnett character, Gob or Job Bluth, who is a wannabe magician, and he always comes out to the final countdown, and I can't even hear the final countdown without thinking of this character. David Cross is amazing in this. This is just a great show. It is funny on every level. I think most people would enjoy Arrested Development. I don't think you have to have a particular sense of humor to enjoy Arrested Development. I love this show. I can put it on whenever and generally get a pretty good laugh out of it. Um, and again, it was just canceled too soon. There have been mumblings that they're trying to get the cast together to do more, and they should, because this show definitely had material that was still, they could have made for great television. So, Arrested Development, number 7. If you haven't seen it, see it. It's good. You will laugh. You will like it, almost for sure, unless you're just got to stick up your butt. Number 6. This is the show on the list that I'm confident that the most people will not be familiar with. It is a British comedy called Plebs. It is set in ancient Roman times, and it follows the story of 3 guys. 2 of them are, plebs, just normal cats. And this little guy right here, Grumio, is the slave. He's their slave. It just kind of follows their misadventures in Roman times. It took a little bit of a hit from season 3 to 4, I think, because this guy right here quit, Mr. Fry, and Stylax in the show. And he really was my favorite part of the show. And when he quit, the guy they replaced him with wasn't nearly as funny. So I think the show then shortly got canceled after that because it just wasn't as funny without him. But I tell you what, the first 3 seasons of this show are a masterpiece. I am normally not one who likes British comedy. It's a little dry for me. This show is funny. This show is really funny. It's got 20 to 30 minute episodes, so it's short. If you can get your hands on it, it's a little harder to find than the other shows on this list as well, but definitely worth a watch if you like funny things. It is Plebs, and it's really funny. So give it a shot, and you will not be disappointed in Plebs. Number 5, this show is Entourage. It's the show, as I was making my list out, because you're gonna over the next few weeks, you'll see, my top action movies, my top action TV shows, dramas, sci-fi, and adventure fiction and stuff. This was the hardest one for me to place in a category because Entourage to me, it's a comedy, but it's not as slapstick as I think a lot of the other shows on this list are, like in terms of it's funny kind of organically. It follows the story of Vincent Chase, who's the guy in the middle, Adrian Grenier. He is an upcoming actor who's just making it in Hollywood. And it's the story of his entourage and his agent, Jeremy Piven, who is hilarious. My favorite character in this show is going to be Johnny Drama, who is the brother of Vincent Chase, the main character. And Johnny Drama is a, kind of a D-list celebrity who used to do some like made-for-TV, very obscure TV shows back in the past. And he's kind of trying to relive his glory days, while he's watching his brother be this A-list celebrity. And it's the story of, the rest of his crew and just kind of the adventures they get into in Hollywood. And it's just kind of a comedy about, a fresh new actor who, the ups and downs that come with that. And I've heard it's more of a guy show, but if you have a guy sense of humor, it's definitely worth a watch. I believe it is on either Netflix or Prime right now, so this is one it's pretty easy access to get. And I'm confident that if you like decent TV, it's a good show. It has a ton of celebrity cameos. A ton. You even got like Sasha Grey in there. You got like Mark Wahlberg. Tons of A-list celebrities, real A-list celebrities that portray themselves. So it's well worth a watch. It's got 7 or 8 seasons, and it's definitely a good show. It comes in at number 5. So number 4 is where I really had a hard time starting to rank these shows. Because number four, if there are some days of my life you could ask me, and this would be my number one. So, and that goes for the next four shows. This is The League. Now, the reason I have it at number four is because of all the shows on this list, it is the most niche and demographically small. It really is only going to speak and highly appeal to people who like fantasy football. However, if you like fantasy football, you will love The League. It will become your obsession and one of your favorite shows until you get to the end, and even then, it's rewatchable. The characters on this show are extremely memorable. They all play their parts perfectly. They all play off of each other well. I mean, look at this pic. These are all great comedians. Everyone in that picture is just a good comedian. My favorite character in this show is Ruxin. He's in the purple. Mr. Kroll, I believe is his real name. And he just plays the obnoxious, everybody's out to get me guy that everyone knows from their fantasy league. Constantly thinking the world's out to get him. It's just a funny show. If you like fantasy football and you have not seen The League, stop whatever you're doing right now. Find a way to see The League, and you can thank me later by hitting the subscribe or like button. So we're gonna move on. I might even do my hair for the next video if I get enough subscribes or likes. I'll start showing y'all my pretty side. Next, number three, Workaholics. This is on Amazon Prime or Netflix right now. I think maybe Prime. It is called Workaholics. You probably are familiar with Adam Devine, this guy. He is in tons of stuff. He's in Righteous Gemstones right now. These three guys did a movie called Game Over Man, which I believe was a Netflix movie. Hilarious movie. They are just a great trio. They play off of each other well. It follows the story. They work in an office in a call center. And if you've never worked in an office in a call center, you're still going to appreciate this show. But if you have, you're going to appreciate it a lot more. The irony to the name of the show, Workaholics, is they don't get a lot of work done because they're too busy having various adventures and smoking tons of weed and just generally being butt heads, but funny butt heads. They, I'm trying not to give too many spoilers, but this isn't really a show that follows a storyline as much as it is just kind of an episodic. They have a band that they have together where they dress as wizards. The other characters in the office that they work are hilarious. Montez is great. It's just a funny show. If you have not seen Workaholics and you have sort of a raunchy sense of humor, or you like any of these comedians shown right here, you're going to like Workaholics. You definitely want to give it a look. It is worth a watch. That's my number three. Number two and number one. This one was tough because my favorite fictional character ever probably comes from this number two show. And that is Eastbound and Down. This follows the story of Kenny Powers, who I believe it's loosely based on John Rocker, who was an old pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, who was racist and homophobic, and he was very outspoken about it. And Kenny Powers is exactly like that. He is unapologetically him. He is a racist, homophobe, big mouth, superstar of baseball who, through his big mouth and getting older and stuff, he gets out of the major leagues and has to go back to his town where he becomes a substitute teacher at a middle school. So picture, a guy who wants to relive his glory days as the hot stuff major league pitcher with a very foul mouth teaching middle school students in southern Alabama. And you get the makings of what is easily one of my favorite TV shows all time. This is my favorite character that Danny McBride has ever played. It is the character I will always associate him with. And I like all his work. but Kenny Powers is a personal hero of mine. He has some very memorable quotes. Uh, I think Kenny Powers speaks to me because as a fellow fugly chud, he he makes it you feel like you're on top of the world. Like you don't gotta be like Channing Tatum to like kick ass and take names and be the best. You just gotta say you're the best, and that's what he does. He does a lot of that in this show. It also stars some phenomenal people. It's a great cast here, and you're probably familiar with Eastbound and Down, but if you're not, definitely check it out. You will laugh. It is a little bit on the raunchy, dirty side of things, and not politically correct at all, but it is easily one of the best comedies of all time. And that's not just for my list, that's period. I'm making that statement. Number one for me. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This for me is, I think, the way The Office is for a lot of people. This is the show I can watch over and over and over again, any time of day, no matter what mood I'm in. It'll cheer me up. I can pick pretty much any episode from their entire catalog, and I'm going to enjoy it. It is just that funny. It follows, Danny DeVito wasn't in the first season, so if you started from the beginning and you're like a Danny DeVito fan, brace yourself. He doesn't show up till the second season. But the first season and the overall arc of the story is that the three guys that aren't Danny DeVito in this picture, Rob McElhenney, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howerton, start a bar together. They're just friends. They open up a bar, and it's another episodic thing. It just follows their misadventures running the bar. They get into all kind of crazy schemes. It's very not politically correct. In a lot of ways, they've even said that they satirize themselves to be terrible people. So it's easy to watch them be terrible people and feel good about yourself, I guess. But they are just funny. I have numerous shirts and paraphernalia dealing with this show. I have a dick towel. I have Project Badass shirt. This is an epic, epic show. It's funny from beginning to end. It is actually still on the air. The new season just started this past week. And if you have not seen It's Always Sunny, it's not too late to get on this train. You will not regret watching It's Always Sunny. If you have any kind of remote sense of humor, you're going to like It's Always Sunny. It's Always Sunny. I even dressed up as the Nightman a few years ago for Halloween. As you go through the episodes, those references will make sense, but not easily, but this for me is my number one show on my list because it's the one that I can just watch whenever and feel good about it. I think most people will enjoy this style of humor, and if you don't, I don't care, but you should. So that is my top 11 comedies of the modern era. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, thumbs it down. If you did, thumbs it up and hit subscribe. I will be putting out more of these videos and giving you great taste in shows. So I just want to thank you if you got to this point in the video. Much love for the watch. And the Ultimate Fanguy will be back soon with my list of top 10 action TV shows. So stay tuned for that. And thanks again for the watch. Much, much love.